Temi is a transformational robotics company, and I've had the pleasure to meet the team over the years. And one of the things that I found is that, when you think of robot, you think of a couple of things. You think that A, it's very cool. Two, the functionality on Temi is, I think, one of the most innovative things that I've seen in the industry. And it has multiple uses in businesses, in schools, in personal lifestyle. So tell us a little bit about Temi and some of the technology behind the robot.
Okay, so Temi is the first personal robot in the world that actually works and is actually being used around the world. Technology-wise, it's basically an Android tablet on the top and a very complex navigation system on the bottom. And in between, there are about 16 different sensors, including a LiDAR, which maps its surrounding all the time in real time. And using all of these computers and sensors, Temi is able to perform all kinds of autonomous tasks, which involve both user interaction and engagement, and mobility and navigation. For example, you can use the most basic feature that we have, which is the telepresence feature, where you can actually connect into Temi from anywhere in the world using your computer or phone, and actually be present in this place where Temi is, and very intuitively control it and move around by using this technology of mapping and locations. Temi is also an open platform which allows developers and partners to actually develop any custom application on it and offer new use cases to many businesses and places.
One of the things that I thought was interesting, how, when Temi first came out, it was for like a specific reason, right? I know that the CEO was using it for when it first was created for like his grandparents for
right,
comfort.
His grandmother,
grandmother, and now your back end is fascinating, right? So like you have a whole back end where you can tell the Temi like where map it, and it's fascinating to see like the evolution of a company and seeing like where it's going. So can you talk a little bit about how Temi has evolved since its inception?
Sure. So when Temi just started, it was really a new thing to everyone. No one imagined even robots being used or operated. But we designed Temi to be a very sleek design and kind of iPhone style device, which is not intimidating. And adoption increased every year since we started, which was about 5 years ago. And the big evolution was, learning from the customers. Okay, so it's actually, we started off with the first version and then learned what's missing in it, what people wanted to do and wanted to perform, and actually started adding these features from time to time. And in parallel, also improved the technology itself, from the LiDARs and sensors to be better and operate, and also the technology in the world improved and got better during this time, because it's all new technology for everyone. So generally, it's a combination of both hardware improvements that have been in place and the whole backend system that you talk about, Temi Center, where you can actually manage a fleet of robots and perform all kinds of autonomous tasks directly from the system, kind of like the Wix of managing a robot. Wix is like an easy way to create websites. So kind of like the Wix of managing a robot, which where anyone, and they don't even have to be a programmer, can actually set Temi up to perform, solutions for many types of use cases, from being a tour guide to welcoming people and to giving information and entertainment and these sort of things all through this system.
One of the things that I've seen, since the pandemic hit, when I partnered with Temi, unfortunately, during the height of the pandemic, my son's school was one of the first to close down, and we did a celebration of Purim at my house, and we were able to do, using the telepresence, bring in my friend. And so it wasn't lonely, but also we did dancing. So when we did the follow, we said, "Hey, Temi, follow me." And we started dancing and we used YouTube, and we sang and we danced, and it was a great experience. And over Pesach, we used it as we put the matzah on the back of Temi, and it came to our table, just to make things a little bit different. It's the use case of it is so many, as you mentioned, in retail and businesses and home. And even now, my son, who is almost two, where we actually, he loves just to, interact. And we've used it to not like a babysitter, but to create a different environment. But in businesses, I see you have you've evolved in the pandemic. So as you mentioned, you've been in hospitals. There was a video that's very touching in Shaare Zedek, I believe. And how has Temi sort of operated in this pandemic?
So first of all, when the pandemic started, every company or hospital or facility immediately, kind of approached us, thinking that Temi is going to save them from this situation. And in a lot of cases, it was true. Take elderly care facilities, for example, where they were fully locked down, no families could visit, barely doctors, I think, could even visit them. So they immediately put some Temis in these facilities and assisted living homes. And any family member could just hop in to meet their relatives there. The relative on the other side, the elderly person, didn't need to operate a phone or a computer or do anything. The person just hopped in there like a sister or a daughter, and just actually spent some time with these people. And also for doctors, if any patient or anyone wants to get immediate assistance from a doctor that is not present in the hospital or even in the state at the moment, they can just hop in from a different location and give any of those assistance. So this is, regarding the telepresence, which was a main feature in the pandemic, to be present somewhere where you can't even get into the front door. And other than that, things like deliveries and giving services, or even medical checks to people which are in quarantine, where even you can't really reach them. So the robot was used to reach these people, communicate with them, perform tests and analysis of things that they needed to do, give them even medications, or deliver books and food to them with Temi. And this was in the beginning of the pandemic. Today, it has evolved into use cases such as nurse roundings in the hospital, and actually taking down the more monotonous tasks from people in these facilities to allow them to have more time to perform the more serious tasks that a human actually needs to do. So if it's going around and asking people if they took their medicine, or even taking the entertainment side of it, like go every day at noon to the dining room and do a few announcements and play some music, you find the real value, both in the productivity of these tasks, and also in the entertainment part, where you see the patients or members really happier and interacting with the robot and feeling younger, and feeling actually like in a high-tech company once this robot is traveling in the facility. And this brought up a lot of new use cases and a lot of demand from these sectors. The healthcare sector is now our leading sector due to the pandemic, actually.
Yeah, one of the things that I felt extremely touched when I watched your videos is that when you go through something like this and you evolve, now I see you have attachments to the Temi. I know there's you said for medical uses, they're scanning temperatures, and
right.
in schools they can dress the Temi a certain way. And I think in my own personal usage, and in my son's personal usage, in his school, my friend David Merrill, who volunteered for a year at Westchester Torah Academy, and now is the the director of operations and technology, he saw Temi and he said, we can use this now because Zoom isn't working for a specific kid. And they integrated Temi, and the kid was crying, like to be able to interact with his friends, and to celebrate, Shabbat programming that you can't do on Zoom like that. Like he was able to control the Temi, and his parents were so thankful to be able to use this technology. People don't realize that, technology is one thing, but integration is another part. And I think Temi has an incredible way that it's easy to use. The functionality is really easy to use, and that's a really important part why I think your product is truly unique, because I said even a kid in kindergarten can use it, to control. And
that's how it was planned.
Where do you see Temi going in the next 5 years?
So at least from the Temi side, so we were gonna keep improving all the time, with over-the-air software updates, and also the hardware is going to improve and to be more suitable to the environments that are using Temi right now. If it's a bigger screen, or maybe height adjustments and things like that in terms of hardware. But more than that, except from Temi's use, expanding even more and being adopted more and more like we see today, I think it's going to evolve into an ecosystem of robots, that will operate together. If it's about cleaning or deliveries of things, and in the end, in I would guess 5 years, there would be like an ecosystem of robots. If let's say it's a building, so there will be Temi welcoming you, calling another robot that will maybe deliver something, and another robot that will clean something, and there will actually be an ecosystem of robots just like Temi from the Temi company that can operate, in more of a global, scale of a use case, and work together as a couple of robots.
One of the things that I also think is a testament to your success is, when you scale a business, you're looking for new opportunities in different markets. And you mentioned the different industries, but you're a global company, right? So you are now in Asia, China, the US, Israel. How does that play into the scale up mode? I always say Israelis are innovative, right? In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've asked what makes Israelis so innovative. A lot of times I get chutzpah, right? That it takes a lot, but how do you see as Israel is a leader in technology, then working with different countries and that responsibility?
So it's a big part of the scale of the company, because we built the whole thing from the beginning to be global. So we're actually, I think, one of the only companies that, from one device you can call from the USA to China, from China to USA to Israel, and, all around from just one system. And it's a really hard task to do, because, there is a lot of differences between these countries in terms of regulations and the systems that they are used to use locally. If in the US people use Alexa or Hey Google, in China it's Tencent or something else, and in South Korea it's also something else. But partnering with the right companies and partners that we have worldwide has proven itself to actually kind of multiply our efforts in each one of these locations and become this actually, global solution in almost any country today. So we feel that this was the one of the best choices that we've made, and we are expanding this operation all the time and recruiting more partners. We have over 30 partners globally right now, and each one of them is just like, it's like a family already, all of these partners, and each one feels, the direct connection to Temi and represents Temi just like it's their own startup. The thing with Temi is that each solution that you talk about is like a small startup by itself. If you want to do a solution for a bank or a solution for a shopping center or a solution for a store, each one of them is a whole project, you know, with its developers and designers and everything. And that's what people like. So it gives them the opportunity to go directly into a business, you know, where they have everything ready. They have the hardware, they have the software options, and just hit the market, go to your customers, show them the value, and you're in the business. So, you know, this is how it works, and we just plan to keep expanding this and improving this all the time.
One of the things that I really enjoyed was seeing all these partners, you know, and seeing that there is that that first of all, there's that connection of innovation, and you know, and it's going back to like, why do you think Israelis are so innovative? Like, what pushes, you know, to create something like, you know, this robot and then scale that?
What pushes us to do it?
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's the believing in this idea, you know, for the future. So we are big believers that, you know, in the next 10 years there's going to be robots everywhere. So, and we believe that we are going to be, you know, if not the biggest, at least one of the biggest players in this market. And this is what drives us. So when there are robots everywhere and in every building and in every store, we plan to be there as one of these leading companies. And this is, you know, what drives us. So basically, it's a game of planning for the future all the time and having this big lead in technology and time that we have, you know, when we started really early in this field, where robots, you know, I think we are one of the first devices that people are actually adopting into their environments of businesses and homes. So this is what drives us. And I think other than that is to see the reactions and success stories that we see today, either from emotional things like elderly care and children, and also to value that businesses actually see from it, value that in the end sums into return on investments or into being a more sufficient, you know, in their environments. So this is what drives us every day, and it's a hard task. Robotics is one of the hardest fields that there is to deal with, you know, especially because it's so new, and you know, people are kind of skeptic in the beginning when you tell them, yeah, a robot is going to be in this business or store. But we see it evolving, you know, from day to day and week to week. We see how it's improving and it's getting there. And we really strongly believe that, you know, this is the way that it's going to be. And there are going to be a lot of robots out there, you know, in the next 10 years.
One of the things that you spoke about earlier was, you know, the makeup of Temi. And a lot of people don't know that, like, LiDAR is not something that a lot of companies put into their robots. Right. This is the tech behind, you know, autonomous cars. So, right. You know, one of the things that I think is exciting about, you know, your company is that I like to use the word future-proof, and that you're looking at technology and how it's evolving, but you're putting the best of in your product. So right. Talk a little bit about that and that decision to sort of use those, you know, incredible, you know.
In general, indoor navigation is a new field everywhere, from military applications to vacuum cleaners. You know, just until recently, every vacuum cleaner, like iRobot and those that you had, just bumped into the wall when they reached it, and that's how they knew that they should go back. Okay, so we are actually one of the first companies that really nailed this indoor navigation technology to allow a moving device not to bump into anything and to always know its surroundings and environments. And for that, we need to use the best technology out there. And, you know, the reason that it evolved in these 5 years is because the technology also evolved. So it's like a natural, you know, thing. We cannot, you know, be ahead of the time of technology. But, you know, we are there in the first ones to actually take advantage of these things. So the LiDAR is a great example. The LiDAR, we had to actually develop it by ourselves together with a partner company in order for it to actually be suitable for temi and affordable enough for temi, because these are very expensive parts. So yeah, it's all about indoor navigation, and I think temi today is the best indoor navigation device that there is out there, using all of these sensors and the cameras that it has. And the biggest part of it is all of the algorithms that put everything together and make it actually work. So yeah, this is still a new field, for everyone.
Great. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. This has been a really fascinating conversation about the future of robotics. And I know temi is going to grow to be even more integrated into hospitals, retail, schools, and personal use, because, there's a need. There's certain things when you have a product that can be used in so many different sort of sectors. It's exciting, and your company's forward thinking, and it's exciting to see what you have next. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much.